unusual last couple days, even last couple weeks. You guys have noticed.
We just had like break-ins in the neighborhood.
Right. Yep.
We were gone the weekend before last. We were down in Gunnison. I haven't noticed anything weird. I mean, tonight we noticed something weird, which a couple of you guys were sitting down here in his gray truck. He like jumps on his beer can and then like leaves it there, goes down around the block, comes back, picks it up, and like kind of freaked out here. We're like, what is that about?
In a gray truck?
Yeah, he has license plate.
Did you call it in?
No.
Do you happen to have it still?
Yeah.
I would love that.
You're here, that part with the copper sitting right there. That was weird.
Yes, welcome to our world.
Yeah.
What is it?
ANJ.
My
22.
Did you know we could look at that or no?
yeah.
He had like a backwards cap on,
Yeah.
like a hoodie.
Yeah. Maybe.
Older, younger?
30s.
Okay. Did the truck say anything on it?
The gray truck with the camper shell.
It was a Ford.
Gray
Yeah.
Ford?
Did you have the camper shell? What color was it?
Camper shell.
It was the same color as his
Yeah,
car.
it was like gray too. Yeah, that was the only weird thing we saw tonight. We're like, what?
You were older.
It's probably older than normal Ford. It's not one of the newer ones. And then the neighbor across the street, she's got the cameras on her house. You can talk to her.
Yeah, they've already, we've been out here in several rounds today. Already gone down the entire other side.
Oh, okay.
Just
Rechecking people that weren't home.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, like what you said, we're just saying if I notice anything weird in between that, or maybe a little bit of something like that.
I haven't seen anything, fortunately.
Okay. So you do have the flyers still. You see anything, you hear anything other than what's on social media, because we're obviously tracking all of that. We've got a whole team of people working on this, but definitely give a shout out to that number that's down there.
Yeah,
We definitely will do that.
Perfect. Thank you guys, and thank you for getting that license plate. We'll go see if that has anything to do with anything or just another, like I said, welcome to our world.
Yeah.
So good job on you. So
And I've never seen that truck in the neighborhood that I know of.
no, okay. There's a lot of construction.
Yeah, there is. I mean, and that's the thing too. Is, I mean, you kind of see kind of weird people in the neighborhood right now with the construction, and you're like, is it construction workers or
Right.
something else?
Yeah,
I just don't know.
Anything unusual last couple days, even last couple weeks that you guys have noticed?
We just had like break-ins in the neighborhood.
Right.
You know of.
Yep.
We were gone the weekend before last. We were down in Gunnison. I haven't noticed anything weird. I mean, tonight we noticed something weird, which a couple of you guys were sitting down here in his gray truck. He like jumps on his beer can and then like leaves it there, goes down around the block, comes back, picks it up, and like kind of freaked out here. We're like, what is that about?
In a gray truck?
Yeah, he has license plate.
Did you call it in?
No.
Do you happen to have it still?
Yeah.
I would love that.
You're gonna come back for it with the copper sitting right there.
Uh,
That was weird.
Yes, welcome to our world.
Yeah.
What is it?
ANJ.
And my
22.
Did you know we could look at that or no?
yeah.
He had like a backwards cap on,
Yeah.
like a hoodie.
Yeah. Maybe.
Older, younger?
30s.
Okay. Did the truck say anything on it?
The gray truck with the camper shell.
It was a Ford.
Gray
Yeah.
Ford?
Did you have the camper shell? What color was it?
Camper shell.
It was the same color as his
Yeah, it
car.
was like gray too. Yeah. That was the only weird thing we saw tonight. We're like, what?
You were older.
It's probably older than normal Ford. It's not one of the newer ones. And then the neighbor across the street, she's got the cameras on her house. You can talk to her.
Yeah, they've already, we've been out here in several rounds today. Already gone down the entire other side.
Oh, okay.
Just
Rechecking people that weren't home.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, like what you said, we're just saying if I notice anything weird in between that, or maybe a little bit of something like that.
So you do have the flyers still. See anything, you hear anything other than what's on social media, because we're obviously tracking all of that. We've got a whole team of people working on this, but definitely give a shout out to that number that's on there.
Yeah,
We definitely will do that.
Perfect. Thank you guys, and thank you for getting that license plate. We'll go see if that has anything to do with anything or just another, like I said, welcome to our world.
Yeah.
So good job on you. So
And I don't think, I've never seen that truck in the neighborhood that I know of.
no, okay. There's a lot of construction.
Yeah, there is. I mean, and that's the thing too, is I mean, you kind of see kind of weird people in the neighborhood right now with the construction, and you're like, is it construction workers or
Right.
something else?
Yeah,
I just don't know.
So that was interesting. Did you guys hear? This was a different neighbor who saw a gray truck, who said, yeah, they threw a beer can out. They were wearing a hoodie. They had a baseball cap on backwards. And she had a plate number. Yeah, with a camper shell. Isn't that interesting? Another gray truck sighting. This one sounded like a big Ford. It didn't sound like the smaller gray truck that the neighbor Betty said that was at the house at 5:15 in the morning. Did you see anything at all in the discovery about the gray trucks? I wonder if it was somebody there to help, with moving day. So what have we learned in the last couple of days? That there was a gray truck at the house at 5:15 a.m. It was still there at 6:45. It was still there at noon before the police officers showed up. And now there's another gray truck with a camper shell. And some guy who's looking like he's some kind of a hick. A beer drinking hick. Who threw his beer can out, but then evidently had second thoughts about maybe leaving his DNA behind. I don't know. Interesting. And we also learned from Betty, the next door neighbor, that she saw Christopher Watt's father-in-law at the house just 3 weeks before the tragedy. And we learned from her that Christopher Watt's father-in-law drove a big gray truck. But what about the red truck? Or was that Christopher Watt's brother-in-law's truck? Oh, wait. Is that NA's truck now? It doesn't sound like the same truck because Betty said that the truck she saw wasn't the same. She said it was a little bit smaller. So how many trucks were there to help if it was moving day? Boy, this just makes me think even more that it was moving day, you guys. But for Betty to say she saw that truck at the house at 5:15 a.m., I guess my first thought is, how is it that anybody wants to say, oh, yeah, the case is closed? Yep, the case is closed. He acted alone. Yep, nothing to see here. I think it was moving day. We just started, Callie, or call. Callie, we just started. I'll play it one more time. This is what you missed so far, Callie.
Anything unusual last couple days, even last couple weeks that you guys have noticed?
We just had a break-in for the neighborhood, which
Right.
is Noah.
Yep.
We were gone the weekend before last. We were down in Gunnison. I haven't noticed anything weird. I mean, tonight we noticed something weird, which a couple of you guys were sitting down here in his gray truck. He jumps out of a beer can, and then visits there, goes down around the block, comes back, sits up and kind of threw out there. We're like, what was that about?
In a gray truck?
Yeah, he has license plate.
Did you call it in?
No.
Do you happen to have it still?
Yeah. But
I would love that.
You're going to hear it come back there with a cop sitting right there.
Uh,
That was weird.
Yes, welcome to our world.
Yeah.
What is it?
And then
ANJ
my
822.
Did you know we could look at the guy or no?
yeah.
He had like a backwards cap on,
Yeah.
like a hoodie.
Yeah. Maybe
Older,
20s,
younger?
30s.
Okay. Did the truck say anything on it?
It's a gray truck with a camper shell.
It was a Ford.
A Ford
Gray
Yeah.
Ford?
Yeah. What color was it?
camper shell.
It was the
It's
same
windows?
color as his
Yeah,
car.
it was like gray tail. Okay. Yeah, that was the only weird thing we saw tonight. We're like, what?
You were older.
It's probably older than almost Ford. It's not one of the newer ones. And then my neighbor across the street, she's got the cameras on her house.
Yep.
I can talk to her.
Yeah, they've already, we've been out here in several rounds today, already gone down the entire other side,
Oh, okay.
Just
rechecking people that weren't home.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, like what she said, we're just seeing if you notice anything weird in his man or any notes or something like that.
I haven't seen anything, unfortunately.
Okay. So you do have the flyers still. You see anything, you hear anything other than what's on social media, because we're obviously tracking all of that. We've got a whole team of people working on this, but definitely give a shout out to that number that's down there.
Yeah,
We
we're
definitely will do that.
Perfect. Thank you guys, and thank you for getting that license plate. We'll go see if that has anything to do with anything or just another, like I said, welcome to our world.
Yeah.
So good job on you. So
And I don't think, I've never seen that truck in the neighborhood that I know of.
no, okay. There's a lot of construction.
Yeah, there
Yes.
is. I mean, and that's the thing too, is I mean, you kind of see kind of weird people in the neighborhood right now with the construction, and you're like, is it construction workers or
Right.
something else?
yeah, that
We
was
don't know.
Your comments are cute. Now I'm going to have to call you call girl. So they had a plate number even on a gray truck with a guy wearing a hoodie and wearing a baseball cap backwards, tossing a beer can out the window, and then circling back and going to pick up his beer can because probably someone said, "You dumbass, we don't want to leave your DNA behind." He was probably like, "What's DNA?" So I wonder if that baseball cap wearing truck person was there to help with moving day. I wonder who the plate came back to. I wonder why we haven't heard anyone discussing this yet. Over 3 years later, and look at us here. We have 2 neighbors now seeing weird gray trucks. I think the most concerning is that the gray truck was at the house at 5:15 a.m. 5:15 a.m. Oh yeah, it was still there at 6:45. So it was still there after Christopher Watts went to work? It was still there at noon? You know, a lot of people say that when Christopher Watts gave that porch interview that he acted pretty genuine, like he didn't know what was going on. Maybe he didn't know what was going on. So why is he taking the heat for it all? Why did he say to his mother that he decided that he was going to take responsibility for what happened? Was he being threatened? Was he being threatened that more people would get hurt? So they knew going in that there was another truck there at the house after Christopher Watts left for work. There was a truck at the house at 5:15 a.m. There was a truck still at the house at 6:45. Christopher Watts had already left for work at that point. What about the red truck? And did you hear this neighbor telling the police that her neighbor across the street has cameras? Okay, well, where are those videos? Moving day? I think so, Callie. I think so. I think there were people there to help with moving day. And do you remember how Cindy Watts said that she asked her son if he wanted her and Ronnie to go back with them to Colorado to help out? Well, if it's moving day, right? Remember, 2 court hearings. One for the unpaid HOA dues, which for some odd reason, when they were noticed up of that hearing, they didn't immediately pay those HOA dues. They just let them ride. Why would you let the HOA dues ride? Oh, I don't know. If you were moving out, if you were closer to losing the house than what we've been told so far. If they weren't planning to move out immediately, then wouldn't they have been worried about those HOA dues? But even more important was the second court hearing for the ongoing family matter. Remember, Christopher Watts said he was going to get an apartment, a 2-bedroom, and he was going to get the girls bunk beds. He never said a 3-bedroom. He never said a crib. You know, we've been asking for 3 years, why would her friend have been so concerned just 5 or 6 hours later after dropping her off in the middle of the night with a BAC of 0.128? Hey, Shrimp Cocktail, did you hear this video? If you just got here, I'm going to go ahead and play it again, you guys. I'll play it one more time. It's a short one. You got to hear this.
Anything unusual last couple days, even last couple weeks that you guys have noticed?
So we just had the break-ins in the neighborhood, which
Right.
you guys know of.
Yep.
We were gone the weekend before last. We were down in Gunnison. I haven't noticed anything weird. I mean, tonight we noticed something weird, which a couple of you guys were sitting down here in his gray truck. He, like, jumps out his beer can, and then, like, visits there, goes down around the block, comes back, picks it up, and it's like, kind of turned out here. We're like, what is that about?
In a gray truck?
Yeah, he has license plate.
Did you call it in?
No.
Do you happen to have it still?
Yeah. But
I
like,
would
you're
love
gonna dump
that.
your beer can and you're gonna come back over the comfort sitting right there.
Uh,
That was weird.
Yes, welcome to our world.
Yeah.
What is it?
And then,
AJ
and my,
22.
Did you know we could look at there?
yeah,
He had like a backwards cap on,
yeah,
like a hoodie.
yeah, maybe
Older, younger?
30s.
Okay. Did the truck say anything on it?
The gray truck with the camper shell.
It was a Ford.
Great
Yeah.
Ford?
Camper shell?
It was the same color as his
Yeah,
car.
like right there. Yeah, that was the only weird thing we saw tonight. We're like, what?
You were older.
It's kind of older. Ford. It's not one of the newer ones. And then my neighbor across the street, she's got the cameras on her house. Should I go and talk to her?
Yeah, they've already, we've been out here in several rounds today. Already gone down the entire other side.
Oh, okay.
Rechecking people that weren't home.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, like
like she said, we were seeing if you noticed anything weird in between that, or maybe something that would have something.
I haven't seen anything, unfortunately.
Okay. So you do have the flyers still. You see anything, you hear anything other than what's on social media, because we're obviously tracking all of that. We've got a whole team of people working on this, but definitely give a shout out to that number that's down there.
Yeah,
We
we're
definitely will do that.
Perfect. Thank you guys, and thank you for getting that license plate. We'll go see if that has anything to do with anything or just another, like
Yeah.
I said, welcome to our world.
Yeah.
So good job on you. So
And I don't think, I've never seen that truck in the neighborhood, but I know of.
no, okay. There's a lot of construction.
Yeah, there
I mean,
is. I mean, and that's the thing too, is, I mean, you kind of see kind of weird people in the neighborhood right now with the construction, and you're like, is it construction workers or
Right.
something else?
yeah,
I just don't know.
So what do you think? Was it moving day? I think so. You know, I just thought about that, just thinking out loud here with you guys. But I always thought it was strange that when they were noticed up for the hearing on the HOA thing, they didn't do anything about it. They would have been noticed up before the big, 5-week separation. Sure seems to me that they would have paid the HOA dues, $52 a month. And, that cockamamie excuse, oh, yeah, she sent it to the wrong address. Bullshit. $52 a month. They get noticed up for a court hearing. They were going to get a judgment against them. And they didn't even address it at all. They just let it ride. You know what that tells me? That tells me they were skipping out of that house fast. Didn't they skip out of the North Carolina house fast too? I think it was the buyer on the house in North Carolina that said, man, she was in a hurry. It wasn't even in the sale contract to include any of the furnishings. And she said, you can just have it all. Yeah, you can just have it. You know, she was so big bucks, right? Making $500K a year and all. So, you know what my theory is on the North Carolina house. She bought it with next to nothing down. She lost money at the closing table. Oh, people say she made a profit. No, she didn't. It was a listed property. That means commissions had to be paid. There are closing costs involved. She lost money on the house in North Carolina. As if she had even been the one making the payments in the first place, because how the hell was she making payments when she quit her job? But remember, Christopher Watts' savings account disappeared, right? So she skipped out of the North Carolina house fast, and here's the reason I think she skipped out so fast. I think that she got it under false pretenses. I do not believe that the information provided to the lender would have been accurate at all. And I think that she was able to obtain, under false pretenses, what's called an ARM. ARM stands for an adjustable rate mortgage. It usually is helpful to first-time home buyers or those who want to, lie about their financial standing in order to squirm their way into a house deal, because it offers lower payments for the first couple, 3 years. But the ARM has to be turned into a conventional mortgage after, 2 or 3 years. I think when she was searching for a Christopher Watts type, that she had already figured out she had no way of paying for that house. And I think she figured that after meeting him and finding out he had $13K in his savings account, that he might be good enough. I think she used him for his credit rating. I think she used him for his savings account and for his income stream. And even then, I think she had to sell the house in North Carolina. Because I think her 2 to 3 year ARM was about set to be turned into a regular conventional mortgage. Keep Moving Forward says, happy Friday, y'all. I am becoming the drop-in girl. Kelly says, 13K, not a lot of money. But you know what? I have a feeling to Christopher Watts' wife, it probably seemed like it was. Living with other people, having other people move in. I think when they got noticed up for the hearing in 2018 for the HOA dues, that they were already planning on skipping out. I've been told that they were a hell of a lot closer to losing that house than anybody has been told so far. I believe it. Otherwise, when they got noticed up for the hearing, they would have made tracks to pay what they owed. It was only $1,500. They didn't mind having a judgment against them for $1,500? What? Why wouldn't they have paid it? They would have had to pay it anyway, right? Why didn't they rush to pay it instead of heading toward a court hearing? Well, I think the answer is simple. I think they already had their moving day planned. But even more important was the second court hearing. I don't think that Christopher Watt's wife was going to be allowed to be near Bella and Cece. And I think that leading up to that point, she did everything she could financially. And so did whoever was helping her, because I think she had other people with their hands in her money and in her mail and in her financial matters to strip Christopher Watts of any of his equity. Kelly says, you mentioned yesterday that you thought SW was on disability. If so, why did Leonard King say she worked a lot? You can't work on disability. You might want to change that comment, Kelly, if you would delete it and retype it. That'd be great. And I'll answer it. I think it was moving day. I think that court hearing was going to pretty much make it permanent. I think they had already given enough time with a family plan. And I think that the social workers in North Carolina had a real problem with what they saw. You know, the social workers in North Carolina haven't mentioned anything at all about any family plan type model program. I bet their reports for the court were alarming. I think she was about to lose access to Bella and Cece. And I think that she and whoever, I think were part of her little pack, were doing whatever they could to strip Christopher Watts of his equity or his ability to keep his home. Cali Girl says, if SW was on disability, why did LK say she worked a lot? I don't know, but I think he's the same guy who said that she didn't come home at night either. So my hunch is that both LK and CW pretty much fell for whatever bullshit lines she gave him. She gave them, either one of them. You guys know, I don't think she worked at the hospital. I know the storyline goes that she worked at the hospital, but remember, we don't know the truth and that we'll never know the truth. So I guess if, we're going to be told one lie after another, which evidently we have been, it's been confirmed by a family member that we don't know the truth, then why the hell should we believe she ever worked at the hospital? I don't know, maybe a product-based multi-level marketing company would be the perfect career for somebody on disability, or maybe being an online troll for pay. Maybe that'd be the perfect career. And speaking of that, I'm going to dip into the drama just for a second. I listened to part of a video put up by one of the known scumbag attackers, and she's whining that there are people trying to boss other people around. She's trying to expose people, right? This is Alice we're talking about. She's trying to expose other channel creators. But she's exposing herself and she doesn't even realize it. She's like, yeah, we got this message and oh yeah, they said good job. And we got that message and then we talked to them afterwards and I was doing the live and she's giving all the background to how she has these secret little texts and phone calls and meetings with the other channel creators asking for their help. And people are going to help her. Yeah, we've seen her brand of help, haven't we? When her little scumbag minions run around posting their lies. She's exposing herself and she doesn't even realize it. Kind of like the case of Christopher Watts. Kind of like Christopher Watts' wife. Her videos tell us everything we need to know about this case. Her videos show us exactly how Bella and Cece were being treated. Yep, scrubs and a name tag in that photo, OMG, of her sitting there with one hand on the shoulder, or I think she had one hand on the shoulder of one of the girls laying in the hospital bed while she had the other one up against her shoulder. Like, oh, what a perfect mom. Exactly, Em. When the scumbag attackers came right out of the chute saying she was a retired nurse, the inference is obvious. They were obviously inferring that she was a college graduate. And then when they were attacking those of us they were targeting, they're like, oh, she's lying about her degree. She's lying about what college she attended. She's lying about her career. So, we dug in and thought, is Christopher Watt's wife lying about her career and her education? Sure enough, she was. Sure enough, the scumbag attackers were lying day one. Oh, she was a retired nurse. And yeah, she was a stay-at-home mom. Well, I call that a lie, even though technically she did stay home. But I think the prerequisite to being called a stay-at-home mom is that you have your kids staying at home with you. Callie Girl says she also said she had to buy books. Back then, they were still buying books. But here's the thing, Callie. She claimed she bought her A&P book before she even took the class. That isn't how it works. So she obviously had zero experience with any nursing program. Shrimp Cocktail says, too bad her parents had most of her videos mass reported and removed after SW was exposed. I know it because then the Netflix flick came out. And a lot of people who came on board to discuss the case after that Netflix docudrama came out haven't had the benefit of seeing all the crap that we've seen. You guys who are trying to figure out if you can work part-time or whatever, do you really think she ever worked? Seriously? Do you really think she ever worked at all? I mean, look at the whole egg in the rice cooker thing. And who knows if she ever charged her parents rent? Who's really privy to the truth? Who knows, right? Did she even charge her parents rent, or were they there to, help take care of her? She admitted she didn't like math, which we kind of figured from watching her videos, right? Exactly, Em. There has been a lot of crap scrubbed. That's why people come to us and say, oh, that sounds interesting. Can you please give me a link to that video? Well, we learned not that long ago, but we learned finally to stop giving them links to the videos, because when, some fake profile comes up and says, oh, I'd like to see that video. Can you tell me where I can find it? And then we, provide the link. And then sure enough, that video would disappear. Oh, I didn't hear about the raffle to give away $25 bills. Yeah, we're talking about a real brainiac, aren't we? So the thought that she worked even part-time, like, really? You think so? You think the work ethic was really something she cared about? Callie, do you really think she was ever sick? Physically? Do you really think she had any physical health challenges? I don't think she did. I think her health challenges were mental. I don't think the girls were sick either, and I don't think they had asthma. I think that her house of cards had already come crashing down long before she was taken to North Carolina for 5 weeks or 6 weeks or however long. I think the girls were to be returned, and Christopher Watts and the girls were moving on in life. And I think she popped in. And quite frankly, I believe Cindy Watts when she says that Christopher Watts told her that his wife said that she would make him pay for this and that he would never see the girls again. And now we learn there was a gray truck at the house at 5:15 a.m. and it was still there at 6:45 after Christopher Watts left for work, and it was still there at noon. Could that explain why that little bathroom had such a strong odor of some sort of cleaner? M says, why did they need money for hypoallergenic pillows for the children? Obviously, they didn't. If she could spend money on product, or I should say, if she could use credit cards to secure or procure products from multiple product-based multi-level marketing companies, then maybe she should have joined a pillow MLM. I'm surprised she didn't think of it herself. She should have joined a pillow MLM and then claimed to be 35th from the top, and then I bet she would have qualified for the hypoallergenic pillows. No, a better plan is to have her husband's coworkers start a fundraiser, evidently believing that the girls both needed hypoallergenic pillows. I got news for you. You can go to Walmart and you can get a foam pillow. If your child has asthma, you can get a foam pillow. The only thing with the asthma thing that the child shouldn't be having are the goose down or the duck down. Did you know that? The foam pillows are the cheapest pillows out there. So if you're spending really big bucks for hypoallergenic pillows, well, don't. Go to Walmart. Get the cheapest one that is not duck down or goose down. Did they hold a fundraiser to get something to wrap the sheets in, or to wrap the mattresses in, I mean? You know, those little plastic thingies? Because you know mattresses are like a big issue if your child truly has asthma, right? Did we see any posts on her Facebook about having to get any kind of hypoallergenic mattresses? Or wrapping those mattresses in plastic? Did we see anything at all on her Facebook posts about the furnace having any special filters for children with asthma? The only thing I can think of that would explain why they didn't pay those HOA dues and they were just letting it proceed to go to the hearing is that They didn't plan on being in the house at the time. It was moving day. And I think all those pickups were people who were helping them move. You know, somebody yesterday during the live chat mentioned about Jamie claiming that she saw photos that Christopher Watt's wife had taken of her son. Bad photos. Very bad photos. Why weren't calls made to the police? Why wasn't she reported to the police right then and there? And when Cindy told us about that whole nut meltdown when she came, what was the word? Charging towards Cindy Watts down the hallway. Why didn't Cindy call the police? When she beat on Christopher Watts and shoved him out the door and locked it, why didn't anybody call the police? We're told that she was caught medically abusing the children in December of 2016. Why didn't anybody call the police? Or did they? We saw those videos. Why didn't anybody call CPS? Lots of Tylenol. I wonder how many people called CPS from that one. Of course, let's remember, very few people actually even watched those videos. Or at least we know from looking at the Facebook profile that very few people ever liked those videos. But how many people would have been bothered by hearing a mother say that she gave the children lots of Tylenol? Were calls made to CPS? How about that Christmas video when the girls are hysterical? Were calls made to CPS? How about the Whack-A-Daddy video when she tormented Bella to tears? Were calls made to CPS? And one of the worst of all, when she sat there spraying Bella right in the face with water. Were calls made to CPS? How many times were calls made to CPS? I think it was moving day, and I think that the people who were moving or who were there to help move were there to help Christopher Watt's wife get her things out of the house. Probably ready to take it all, right? Probably satisfied with herself that by not making the house payments and by smoking through the 10K and by not paying the HOA dues, that he was screwed. And probably too much of a doofus to really pick up on it. But here's the thing. He could have saved the house. He could have afforded the house. Without his wife and her MLM habits, he and the girls could have lived there and he could have afforded it all just fine. I think it's true what Cindy Watts said. I think Christopher Watts did tell Cindy Watts that his wife said she would make him pay for this and that he would never see the girls again. And I think he went to work that morning without a clue that anything was about to happen to his children. A gray truck at the house at 5:15 a.m. still there at 6:45, still there at noon. Another gray truck circling around in the neighborhood. Betty, the neighbor, saw Christopher Watt's father-in-law there 3 weeks before the tragedy, she said. Where's the red truck? Oh, wait, didn't NA make a video with the red truck? Exactly, M. CW didn't have anything to lose at all except a whole lot of debt and the person who put him into a whole lot of debt. Christopher Watt's wife had everything to lose. She was about to lose her stage. You know, the Rachel Ray wannabe was about to lose her stage. And speaking of the Rachel Ray wannabe, you know, she claimed that she had lupus in the same month, the exact same month, that her idol was on the talk shows during a lupus awareness month. I think it was May of 2010. Her idol was on the talk shows saying that she had the markers for lupus. Well, that wouldn't have been enough for Christopher Watt's wife. She claimed she had lupus. There's a difference between having the markers for lupus and having lupus. A big difference. But you know what? I don't think Christopher Watt's wife was intelligent enough to know the difference. I think she saw those shows. I think she saw her idol talking about the lupus markers, and I think she took it to mean, her idol had lupus. So she was going to have lupus too. I think that's exactly what happened. I don't think she was smart enough to figure out the crap she was pulling. Look at the familial Mediterranean fever. Research it. There's no way in hell that Bella or Cece had familial Mediterranean fever. There's no way. But boy, she kept pushing that, didn't she? Clueless that there's simply no way in hell that one or both would have had familial Mediterranean fever. I'll tell you something else. There's no way in hell that both girls would have had asthma. And there's, in my opinion, no way in hell either one of the girls had asthma. I don't believe that either of the girls had any allergies. I don't believe it. I especially don't believe that both girls would have had allergies. I do not believe that both girls needed surgery in the same day. I do not believe that both girls were actually sick on their own on the same day. I think she made them sick. I think she was a mental. I think she was on disability from the time she was first diagnosed, which in my opinion was back when she was a teenager. I think she had other people helping her handle her money. I think she had zero concept on how to manage money or how money even worked. Math challenges, putting it mildly. Delo says CW and SW were so broke, yet they planned a third pregnancy. Oh, you believe that? Do you believe that, Dolo? Yes. Check the knives. Check the knives for the highly successful, hardworking supermom who did more than 95% of the other women out there. Check the knives. Check them for what I'm not sure. Evidently, there was an ongoing inventory of knives for the Watts family. Well, happy Angie. According to Cindy Watts, Christopher Watts isn't sure that he and his wife got pregnant either. Because there's just one problem with that. You have to, you have to do it. Was it moving day? I think it was moving day. And I think whoever the people were in the gray trucks, well, I think whoever the people were in the gray trucks know a hell of a lot more than we've been told so far. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I've been a true crimer for many years. I have never seen a case where people discussing the true crime case itself are targeted for harassment and abuse and threatening phone calls, harassing phone calls, doxing, stalking, all the shit that they've done, all the shit that the scumbag attackers have done. I have never, ever before seen a case where this has happened to people discussing the case. So what's that tell ya? And, if you're wondering if we're being lied to, we don't even have to wonder anymore because a family member admitted that we'll never know the truth. Well, maybe we will know the truth. Maybe a lot of us have already figured out probably what the truth really is. Lori says that Cece didn't even really look like CW and looked like somebody else. Well, I personally think, this is just my opinion, I think that the marriage was over during the 32nd week of the pregnancy with Bella because she was posting ad nauseum on her blog. And then suddenly she didn't post again. I think she had some sort of a mental break, some sort of an episode that Christopher Watts saw for the first time, that the woman he married wasn't really the woman he thought he married. And I think that probably from that point forward, he was just kind of biding his time. And I bet you that next pregnancy probably shocked him. And I'm thinking he was probably wondering how that next pregnancy happened when little Bella was just 10 months old. Are you guys talking about that leopard thing? Not a dress, more like a jumper. I don't know. I'm no fashionista, though I would say in my younger days I probably was. But I thought that leopard thing was ugly. And I don't know if you noticed, but something seemed kind of lopsided, like maybe it was the budget rate, if you know what I'm saying. That video, oops, we did it again, or something like that, whatever that was. You guys really think he believed that he and his wife got pregnant? I don't. I think he spent a few years after the 32nd week of the pregnancy with Bella humoring her. And what is it that Cindy Watts said? Walking on eggshells. I think they pretty much kept her in that main floor room that she one day called both her bedroom and her office. And I think they did their darndest to keep the kids away from her. I think that court hearing was about to sever any ties she had. Any rights, any parental rights, any visits, any whatever. And I think it was already figured out even before the North Carolina trip. Kind of like a last little time frame for the kids, right? But I think those North Carolina social workers pitched a royal fit. And I think at that upcoming hearing for the ongoing family matter, that the court may have had no choice but to go against any family plan. When Christopher Watts said that he didn't know she was going to be there, or she wasn't supposed to be there, or something like that, I think he was referring to his wife. I think there were people there for moving day, and he drove out of that driveway believing that Bella and Cece were safe. Shrimp Cocktail says CW was a willing participant as a prop, as to not cause friction. He was too busy working and taking care of the kids to really deal with her properly. And I don't think that was by accident either. I think that was by design. I think there were people in place to keep him so distracted and so convinced even that he didn't really have the option of leaving or the option of doing anything. I think he was exhausted. I think he was getting very years. He was isolated. He was exhausted. He was basically, I think, just trying to make sure the kids were safe. I think he was listening and even taking directions from the wrong people. That is true. A normal toddler does not need locks on the front door. Those kids were 3 years old and almost 5 years old, and they had to have a lock on the front door so they wouldn't run away. Really? Really? Do you remember the video where Christopher Watts' wife said the girls were sleeping, so she was going to go to the post office while they were sleeping? Did anybody call CPS with that one? Of course, she probably didn't finish her sentence because my hunch is the girls were probably sleeping all right. They were probably taking a nap at that point at the daycare center. M says, I'm sorry. Nothing makes sense in this case. Except, you know what, M? If you take a look at the theory that she was a mental on disability who was conning Christopher Watts for a long time, who was basically trying to sabotage, or whoever was helping her with the money was trying to sabotage his ability to get his hands on any of his equity or to even keep his house. It all makes perfect sense. There you go, Shrimp Cocktail. It all makes perfect sense. You do realize that she posted multiple times that she was at a hospital in Indianapolis, right? For over a month. It was a month and a half, I think it was. The clues are all right there. The puzzle pieces fit together. Just look at the Santa Claus video. Did she even know how to recognize when a child needed to be able to feel some, reassurance? When did we ever see a video where she actually acted as if she was bonded with the girls? Do you guys really think she had some kind of major neck surgery? Why didn't the autopsy mention the scar? It mentioned some hardware. Then why didn't it mention the scar? Is it possible the scar was no longer visible? Check the knives? Really? And here's another thought. Did she really dose the girls up all the time? Or did she do it in front of Cindy Watts? Did she do it in front of people, or did she claim that she did it? Because remember, she had this Nurse Nene routine going. After December of 2016, was she allowed to? And if so, shame on anybody who watched her do it who didn't object. Walking on eggshells around her? Really? What about Bella and Cece? Maybe they should have just crushed the eggs and made their way right to Bella and Cece and said, guess what? We're going to make sure Bella and Cece are safe. To hell with your temper, to hell with your moods, to hell with your mental problems, because there are two people here who are more important than you, lady. So you go off and get the help you need. And in the meantime, these girls are going to have a childhood. I agree with you, Shrimp Cocktail. Shrimp says autopsy didn't mention the scar because it would have been an indicator of self-harm if it wasn't really a surgery scar. That scar was covered up for a reason. And in my opinion, a little bit out there, I think it's possible that scar may not have been visible at the time of the autopsy. I do too. Shrimp Cocktail says, I believe the next scar was self-harm because she disappeared shortly after and needed caretakers in her home when she surfaced. And she posted and belonged to suicide social media groups. She posted on she posted on suicide forums. What is she doing in a suicide support group? What was she doing in a domestic violence survivor group, for Pete's sake? Well, that's the only thing. Happy Angie just said shrimp. I think so too. Hence the knives comment. That's the only thing I can think of why anybody would say check the knives. Aussie says, if only we had medical records in the discovery. I don't even think we need any medical records. I think we just need to watch a few of the videos and go, yep. Shrimp says, just like she purchased weird medical devices to use on her children. What was in those nebulizers? How many times did her doctors or her children's doctors say, no, they do not have asthma? So what happened? Did she keep trying for them to appear as if they had asthma? And have you ever heard of 2 children being diagnosed with asthma on the same day? Really? Yeah, her friend came and stayed with her all the way from Hawaii. Yeah, okay. Truth Seeker says, I don't understand how she posted the videos she did. Evidently, she thought they were a sign of her being, a woman who did more than 95% of the other women out there. Right. She said that she was cured. She was cured of lupus. That might have gotten her $500,000 a year. If she actually found the cure for lupus. But my hunch is that caffeine-coated Band-Aids probably don't cure lupus. Pick says, what a banshee, threatening CW about his family, about Cindy giving ice cream. That whole nut meltdown is just bullshit. Shrimp says, if people knew the real truth of SW and her family, they'd have a witch hunt on their hands. Happy Angie says she thought she was an influencer and her public needed to see her put her makeup on. And her public was like how many people? 6, 7, 8 people? Aussie says, who was Allison? Allison was somebody who hopped up on the panel and said that she personally watched Christopher Watt's wife getting booted out of Facebook groups because she kept posting comments that they figured she was lying about her conditions, and she kept harassing members of the group, telling them to sign up for MLMs, and that she was in remission from her products. Shrimp Cocktail says SW should have been a gang stalking life coach on YouTube like Go Hump a Dog. She'd have been successful at that for sure. Well, Shrimp, I'm beginning to think that maybe she was. Because if you think about the attacks against those of us they targeted right away, I think maybe Christopher Watt's wife was an online thug. I mean, what else did she do with her time? Christopher Watts cleaned the house, did the laundry, did the cooking. The kids were in daycare all day while she sat on social media. And the scumbag attackers started attacking right away after the tragedy hit, right? Maybe she was one of them. I mean, if you look at how she talked about that supposed classmate in one of her classes, she wasn't averse to, trying to act like she was a mean girl. Yes, Lisa, that one guy said that he had to change his phone number and his wife's phone number both because she kept harassing them. That's a good point, Shrimp Cocktail. That's the thing. A lot of people who are discussing the case now, they've missed out on so much of the information that we saw years ago. Shrimp Cocktail is reminding us that at the beginning, right after the case hit the headlines, there were people claiming that Christopher Watt's wife committed fraud with their credit card accounts through her MLM, that she was buying products using their cards and then selling it elsewhere. Or probably just stuffing it in the basement and trying to convince herself that she got the car for free. M says the SW was mean. You can see it with the name calling of her own children. And her husband, too. And, even her own family says that she, had strong legs, right? What's that mean? And we've heard from Cindy Watts how mean she was. Your comment is interesting, Shrimp, because I'm getting comments from some of the familiar scumbag attackers recently. And they're saying, oh, they should sue you. They should sue you for slandering her. The same old bullshit. And I see this comment over and over again, the same comment. It's all copy and paste bullshit. And I think to myself, really? I don't think so. Because we do have the right to discuss true crime cases. However, they do not have the right to either hire or recruit people to attack me, to threaten me, to harass my children, to harass me. They do not have the right to post defamatory content, absolute lies about me. So for all of you scumbag attackers, I almost said attrackers, For all of you scumbag attackers, or for just the 2 or 3 of you, actually, who are using all your stupid fake profiles, posting the bullshit, oh, they should sue you. You're just jealous. I'm thinking that you've got it backwards, quite frankly. I've never committed defamation. I've never slandered anybody. I've never harassed anybody. But Christopher Watt's own brother-in-law has lied about me to thousands of people. Well, he has applauded and encouraged scumbag attackers to post videos doxing my employer and telling thousands of people to harass my employer. While his parents have applauded scumbag attackers who have threatened me and attacked me and harassed me. So I'll say it again. You got it backwards, dipshit. Shrimp Cocktail says, nobody is jealous of a dead woman who murdered her children. Whenever they do the, oh, you're just jealous routine, I say, of what? Of what? She was losing everything. She was broke. Her husband was doinking his coworker. The truth was about to come out. Jealous of what? Truth Seeker says, I really think she wasn't allowed to take her children away from the house, not by herself, because I think DSS was involved. I believe what I've been told. I've been told there was an open CPS case that she was not allowed to be alone with the kids. I believe it. That she had bipolar, that she was diagnosed also with narcissistic personality disorder, that she was not allowed to travel alone with the girls. She was not allowed to drive with the girls in the car. She was not allowed to take them to the doctor without other adults being present. A lot of us here on this channel are moms. Did you ever have your husband go along with you to every appointment? Did you ever take along parents and spouses and whatever other collection of people with you to an appointment for your children? Why would you have your husband miss work to go to the doctor's appointment? I mean, okay, I know. You know, you always want him to go to see the ultrasound, right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how he missed so much work, supposedly, because they were always sick. Why would he miss work because they're sick? She was sitting on her duff. Well, I think the answer is clear. I don't think she was allowed to take them to the doctor. I don't think she was allowed to drive them. Have you ever heard of anybody moving people in like they did? Or living with other people like they did? Shrimp Cocktail says, I do enjoy giving the shiners a good verbal bashing every once in a while. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. Just realize something, Shrimp Cocktail. You're talking probably to the same person with multiple profiles. Probably multiple personalities, too. Lisa says that his coworker said that if he was not at work, then they knew the kids were sick. Maybe if he wasn't at work, his wife was having an exceptionally rough time mentally. Aussie says, Miss Mensa, what's your theory on the mistress? I think she was a co-worker who he was doinking when the marriage was already long gone. Truth Seeker says, I think the truth is already coming out slowly. I think the truth is out. I think she showed the truth in her own videos, and I think that what we've been observing over the last 3 years have been pretty much supporting our theory. I agree. I think the marriage was over. Well, personally, I think it was over in her 32nd week with her pregnancy with Bella. I think the series of people calling themselves nurses were probably a series of nurses' aides or CNAs or whatever they call them. And you know, shame on society, I guess, right? For not having whatever help. I don't know, this whole idea that we're supposed to pretend that she was normal, whatever. But when it comes to having 2 small children, then that crosses a line, obviously. Big deal if she spent her days on social media locked up in that little room. Big deal. But Bella and Cece deserved for society to step up to the plate and to make damn sure that they were safe. Do I think the mistress was involved? No, she wasn't involved. That was already proven back in 2018. The princess dream has to stop. I don't even think she had the princess dream going. I think she was all out mental. I don't even think it was a princess dream. I think she was all out mental. And I think the people who are joining in with the attacks and joining in with the BS narrative, I think they're mentals too. I mean, all you have to do is look at some of their videos at how they yell and scream and threaten people and talk about their Adderall. Shrimp Cocktail says she totally got Disney princess programming. I do think that that is part of what we're seeing with the Shiners and with her to a certain degree, just by the era that she grew up in. But I think it's so much more than that. I think she is an all-out mental who didn't get, I'm trying to think. I think she got a lot of help. I mean, that whole outpatient routine that she had going on in Indianapolis, or that she claimed that she had going on. I think along the way she probably got a lot of help. But unfortunately, I think she was allowed to live out her delusions at the risk of harming two innocent children. If it's true, and I think it is, if it's true that she was caught by the hospital in December of 2016, then in my opinion, she should have been prosecuted right then and there. And the children should have been absolutely protected from her from that day forward. I think by the time NK came along, the marriage was already over. I don't even think of her as a mistress, quite frankly. I know I just used that word, but I don't even think of her as a mistress. I think the marriage was already over. Shrimp Cocktail says, remember when someone asked Sandy on Facebook what happened, and she responded that the Antichrist took her family. I remember the Dr. Phil stuff, the spear to the forehead and all that. Yeah, it was like a spear to her forehead or whatever. And she said she woke up Frankie, and then she looked over at Frank, and she said she woke up everyone in the house or something like that. She didn't say she woke up Frank. I thought that was interesting. That's another thing Shrimp Cocktail said. And SW apologized to her mother? What did she apologize for? That was interesting, wasn't it? She apologized to her for what? The other interesting one is when we were told that when we go to heaven, that Christopher Watt's wife is going to be right there to tell St. Peter whether or not a sin. Fortunately, for all of us Christians, that isn't how it works. Well, that was interesting. I just got booted out of my own live chat. Interesting. I wonder if the scumbag attackers are trying to do their little hack number like they did before. Yeah, it went blank, Truth Seeker. All of a sudden it booted me out. That was weird. I agree with you, Shrimp Cocktail. I don't think SW cared at all about whatever CW had going on. I'm not kidding you. I think that marriage was over when she was 32 weeks along with the pregnancy with Bella. I think that's when Christopher Watts figured out what he was married to. And I think that marriage was over at that point. And I think she went to North Carolina. I think she figured that's where she had to go. I don't think she had anywhere else to go or any other option. And I think she probably couldn't stand it and decided that she was going to make damn sure that Christopher Watts didn't get to move on with his life. Remember when she posted a picture of a house that she was going to look at? She didn't have any money. She didn't have any ability to buy a house if she couldn't even put the Lexus in her own name. Remember, it was a leased vehicle, but it had to go in Christopher Watts' name. Well, wait a minute. I thought she was successful. There was no way she could have bought a house. Callie Girl says, why would she buy a self-help book? Hold me tight. And that's a really good question, Callie Girl. Yeah, she spent him into oblivion, not once, but twice. She treated him like shit. They were about to lose the house. She was probably about to lose any access to the girls, in my opinion. She probably lied to him on a daily basis. She probably made his life a living hell. She called his mother evil. She called his father dumb. But hey, buy him a book. That'll work. Yeah, buy him a book. Hold me tight. And then call him up as soon as the book's delivered. Hey, the book just got delivered. Read it. Shrimp Cocktail says she would have been lying to everyone around her about what was really going on. So all of her lies were about to be exposed. Her house of cards came crashing down. And she didn't want anyone to know. That's my opinion. She didn't want anyone to know that she was a fake. TH says, how could he have been so passive? Well, maybe he was trying to protect Bella. Maybe he was somehow convinced that he wasn't able to divorce her when she was pregnant, that he wasn't able to divorce her when Bella was a baby. And then maybe she had one of those, woohoo, guess what? We're pregnant again. And he's probably standing there going, how'd that happen? And then he probably was convinced that he wasn't able to divorce her. But then, if it's true what the social workers claim, right? Then if it's true that she was actually caught medically abusing both children in December of 2016, caught by the hospital, no less, that was his ticket out. But even then, he was probably convinced that he had to somehow stay to try to protect whatever, he wasn't going to lose the girls, remember? She said that anytime she tried to talk to him about the relationship, he would say, I don't want to lose the girls, or I'm not going to lose the girls. That's pretty telling, you guys. Maybe the only way he was able to not lose the girls, was to follow through with what I think was moving day. Cali Girl says it's in the trash. Aw, and isn't that the crime of the century? You know, I don't know. If you were married to a nutcase who had posted publicly terrible things about your family, terrible things about you, terrible things about your children, if you had put up with nutcase-itis in your spouse for years, and if you had an open door and you were about to be free and you were about to be able to take your kids and be free, and then all of a sudden the nutcase buys you a book and tells you to read it, it's probably not the first time she bought a book and then called him as soon as it got delivered. You know, the people say she was working on her marriage because she bought him a book. No. Give me any other example of what she was doing to work on that marriage besides spending money they didn't have for a book, telling him to read it. I think she bought 2 of them actually too, which is, you know, it's a sign of something far beyond the, you know, pampered whatever. Didn't she buy 2 of them, one for herself and one for him? You know, most married couples share the same book. I don't know if that's even considered being frugal or just not mentally ill. I say good for him for putting it in the trash. Okay, what do you guys want to do here? I just did 1 yawn, 2 more yawns, and we're going to say goodnight. So let's do something. I'm going to look something up here. Letter written Okay, here it is, I think. Oh, wait, that's the channel. I want to just find the letter. Oh, I know. I'll go to the discovery thing. I'll do it that way. Then I can just read it without having another channel creator talking, because I hate to use other people's stuff, even if they're just talking for a little bit. I don't want to like make anyone get pissy about it if I play their video. Okay, let's see here. Okay, I'm searching in the discovery. Okay, I've got to make this bigger so I can see it. This isn't the letter. This is something else. I'm going to read what I see here. Page 22. This is the redacted. Page 22. I was contacted directly at the police department by Shannon's mother. She was upset and told me that she and her husband believe that her daughter and granddaughter's disappearance involved foul play, and that she honestly believes that her son-in-law was involved in the disappearance of her daughter and granddaughters. She said that she felt when Shannon had come home late from her trip and had been exhausted, and that she and Christopher had argued, but due to Shannon's lupus, she would not have been able to put up a fight. She also told me that she had bought Shannon an Apple iWatch, and the ID was her plan number. Page 23. She finally told me that Christopher had called a neighbor and told them that he feels we are watching him about his involvement in this. Really? I wonder who was watching him with all those cameras in the house. I explained to her that she should not threaten Christopher or say too much in regards to the direction of this investigation, as we do not know exactly what the circumstances are involving the whereabouts of Shannon and her granddaughters. Page 29. I contacted the mother of Shannon Watts via phone. She lives out in North Carolina along with her husband. Page 78. This supplemental report is to account for handwritten notes I had taken during my telephone contacts with Christopher Watts and with his mother-in-law. Page 242. Would like information, would like to speak to PD or P something. He is the father to Shannon and wants a call referencing why the house is taped off. He is calling from out of state and was advised of this by a neighbor that lives in the area. What? Why wouldn't he know why the house was taped off? Why wouldn't he have known? Page 256. Christopher Watts' mother-in-law saying she is the mother of Shannon. What? 6:56 a.m.? She lives in North Carolina, wants some answers now from an officer. Said she even called the FBI this morning. Interesting. Page 529. They had received a letter from Chase Bank pertaining to their delinquent home loan. He currently owes his mortgage payment for August. He currently has $2,000 in his Chase checking account and approximately $1,500 in their USAA checking account. Almost all of their credit cards are maxed out. Shannon had only been paying the minimum payment on their credit cards. Yep, she was so successful, guys. Okay, I'm just scrolling down now. CBI says, Rusek said that everything seemed normal. Neither Shannon or Chris ever gave any indication of marital problems. Rusek said that when they heard that Chris was going to a baseball game on Saturday, he thought it was strange as he never left the girls with someone else when Shannon isn't there. She was in Arizona for a conference. Yeah, sales training. And I ask you again, why would anyone who claimed to be 35th from the top need to go for sales training? Rusek said Shannon checked her finances on the phone and found out that Chris had spent over $60 on dinner. Okay, how did he know that she checked the finances and found that out? How did he know that? He said that he was told this by one of Shannon's friends, not from Shannon. He said that he spoke to Chris on Sunday night on FaceTime. But wait a minute, I thought Chris closed his account. Because remember, they called that Facebook stuff FaceTime. Rusek said that Bella was eating cold pizza and some candy. Whew, that's nutritious. Rusek said that was the last time he spoke with any of them. Rusek said he hadn't talked to Shannon recently because he usually leaves her alone when she's out of town. When asked how he found out that Shannon and the girls were missing, he said that his wife tried to get a hold of her and couldn't. Really? Was that in the discovery? In those phone records? Rusek said that sometimes his wife can be pushy with Shannon, and Shannon will not respond to her. So she asked him to contact Shannon for her, but she never did that day. He said his wife called Chris and told him that Shannon wasn't answering her and he should call the hospitals. He said that when she was in North Carolina, Shannon was very excited about taking Bella to kindergarten. What? Bella wasn't old enough for kindergarten. Okay, I'm going to keep scrolling. This is interesting. It just says letter, letter, letter on a whole bunch of pages. This is the redacted one. Interesting. Boy, the redacted one is pretty interesting, isn't it, you guys? For those of us who have seen the first one. Interesting stuff there, huh? Let's see what you guys are saying. Truth Seeker thinks that Cece didn't belong to CW. That's interesting. I agree with you, Truth Seeker. Aussie Girl says, who do you think was cleaning up the scene? I know who I think it was. That's a good point, Lisa. Nobody yelled out for her at all, or for the girls when they entered the house. Shrimp Cocktail says she probably drove herself nuts juggling so many lies. I think she got to the point where she didn't have control and she took the easy way out and took her lies to the grave. I think it was more of a revenge thing. I don't think it was like an escape or anything. I think it was more of a revenge thing. I think she was pissed. I think she lost it because I think she could see very easily that the truth would come out and she wouldn't be able to pretend anymore that she was some kind of a success story. Exactly. Shrimp Cocktail says she wasn't going to let him walk. This is weird. My computer's saying to restart for important security concerns. Interesting. That's interesting. So here we go. Shrimp Cocktail says she wasn't going to let CW walk and live a productive life with someone else and her kids. He didn't care about her anymore, and the only thing she had that he cared about was those kids. That's exactly right. I think it was revenge. Spousal revenge. And there you have it, Shrimp Cocktail. She took what he loved most. And I think it really pissed her off. You know, if you think about it, how she said that whenever she tried to talk to him about their relationship, that he would say he didn't want to lose the girls, or he wasn't going to lose the girls. I think it pissed her off that he was actually the parent that the girls turned to. Candace says, my husband would have given me the middle finger if I would have given him a self-help book. Good question. Where's that Apple Watch? Another good question. Why didn't LE talk to Cindy Watts? I think you're making a really good point, Shrimp Cocktail. Christopher Watts' in-laws suffocated the investigators with calls, texts, emails. Look at the thing I just read. She's calling the FBI. She's pulling the FBI in on it, right? They were already involved, but still, she's calling the FBI multiple times a day. Christopher Watts' brother-in-law even threatened the police to make a move and go after CW. He later apologized during his interview. Pressure, pressure, pressure. And yet, were they calling their daughter's phone? So if Christopher Watts was being watched, then that means people knew about the girlfriend in the middle of the summer, too. I think that's pretty interesting. And I think that whole toy crying and stuff, I don't think that was just a toy that was there. I think it was a noise from somewhere else. Pacific Northwest Time says, may I ask why we hear the keystrokes? I never hear them on anyone else's live. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I should join some kind of a gang stalking thug pack and they could send me like a Star Trek chair and a fancy microphone. That'd be fun. I'm kidding. Oh, Susie, you're here. We have been asking about you, girl. Now we need to hear from Samantha, too. When I clicked on, I was thinking, I hope Susie shows up and I hope Samantha's doing well. We haven't heard from Samantha yet, though. But she was doing really good yesterday, her and the baby both. How have you been, girl? Where you at? Were you like without electricity from the storms? Yeah, when it gave me that thing about doing whatever for the security, blah, 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 I just got out of there. Yes, drastic measures. Don't forget, it's going to take drastic measures to be the one, how did she say it? Something like the one I truly belong with or something like that. Well, and that's the thing. And back to your Disney princess routine, because she did get help, obviously, right? But evidently it was just never enough. Never enough. More. I think she wanted to be the next Rachel Ray. She just didn't know how to cook, though. That's the only problem. TH likes the sound of the keys. Thank you, TH. And that's only on this computer. I've had people comment that they can hear it. I don't think you guys have ever commented on the other one. I should probably play some music and like click along on the beat, Yes, to be with the one she loves. Susie took a break. Good for you, girlfriend. No, she hasn't had the baby. No. Nope, she has her feet up. She's in the hospital. They're able to, she was having labor pains, but they were able to stop it. And I think it's another 5 weeks. They're going to go ahead and schedule the birth. Here's the thing, Shrimp Cocktail. I don't think it's really him. I think it's actually the scumbag attacker who that profile represents. I do. I don't think it's him. I think they use some kind of voice thingy. He always sounds drunk. The scumbag attacker who we know that profile represents is always drunk. It just makes sense. And she's been known to use those voice thingies when she calls my house in the middle of the night, right? With her harassing phone calls. I know, Lisa, and you can tell by listening to him he doesn't know the case, which if it's the scumbag attacker I think it is, she doesn't know the case either. Shrimp says, no, you're giving him too much credit. Well, if it is actually him, I think he had her in his ear. I can try to figure out how to unblock him. If I unblock him, let's see how many seconds it takes for him to hop up here. Because that was something that was really weird. Let's see here. Okay, Justice, you're unblocked. I just unblocked him, so we'll see how long it takes for him to hop up here to try to set us straight. Oh, okay, you're right. Got to post the link here. Copy. I'm just proud of myself for finding the place to unblock. That was pretty fast. Okay, there's the link. Come on, Justice, hop on up here. Convince us that you're not really some other person. I'll tell you who else is welcome to hop right up here. Well, any of you are welcome to hop up here, but I think Alice Cooper should hop up here and tell us why she thinks it's okay for her to post defamatory content about other people and then to sit there and whine about people talking about her. And I think Natasha should hop up here too and tell us why she thinks it's okay for her to lie about us. I don't know anything about that Dorothy person, but I know people email me stuff about her. She should hop up here and explain why she thinks it's okay to lie about us. And you know what? I think Save Robbie should hop up here too and actually apologize instead of his bullshit. I apologize to you, Mensa. I already apologized to you. No, you didn't, Bubba. No, you didn't. You have never owned up to the crap you've pulled. Truth Seeker says, Justice, Justice, where you be? Maybe the avocado should hop up here and tell us who was telling her to threaten me. There you go, Susie. He's too busy working on his fake sobriety. That's probably on the ideas for how to build your channel, Truth Seeker, we don't do that. You'll have to delete that one, hon. Cali Girl says, why can't everyone just stay in their own lane? Because that's how they build their channels, and that's how they do their scripts. They have to fight. That gives them content then for the next day, and then they do reply videos. Yeah, and I think Avocado is a total joke. I had never heard of her before until she posted crap online. I'll see if I can somehow figure out how to play it. Hold on here. Let me think. Have to find it first. I'll give you a dose of avocado here. If I can find it fast enough. It's here somewhere. Have to try to remember my password. Oh, I had my caps on. That's the problem. Hold on. There, that worked. Man, that was hard. Okay, let's see here. How do I find it? Go there. Okay, now I have to scroll. Take me just a minute. I'll play it for you. I think you'll be able to hear it. I found it. Okay, can you guys hear me? Because my computer just did a weird thing again. I might have to go to my other computer. Can you guys hear me okay? Oh, crap.
Because I'll tell you something. I'll come looking for you. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of you coming on my channel and pulling your bullshit. You got a problem? Why don't you put your face in front of the camera and tell us? Tell us what your problem is. I'm done. I've had it. You want to bring Cindy Watts into this and make it even worse for her and the Watts family? God help you. God help you. I've had it. I've had enough of it. I don't want to be coming on my channel and seeing some stupid comments. They're stupid. They're unintelligent. They don't make sense whatsoever. And they're lies. All lies. Now I hear Miss Menta is a victim's advocate for children. Oh yeah, lady? I'm a victim's advocate myself. How come I don't behave like you? I've had it. I've had it with your bullshit. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're famous on YouTube or not. I don't care. I've faced much harder people than you. Tougher. And I came out winning. So don't tell me that you're some wonderful, perfect interviewer. You got all your shit together. I don't care. You don't. You don't come on my channel. You don't talk crap about Shanann. That's it. If I see any more, I'm coming after you guys. Not playing. Not playing. You got it, Miss Mensa? Have a great day.
Isn't that special? She says she's a victim's advocate and she's running around threatening people on YouTube. I'm coming for you, Mensa. I'm coming for you. I don't care if you're famous. What a whack job. What a total nut job. Well, was she quote unquote working for anyone at that point? She claims she was. Pretty disgusting across the board. Pretty disgusting behavior. I think it's cute too. One of the other scumbag attackers, actually two other scumbag attackers so far, have claimed that they're the ones who started calling her the avocado. Bullshit. We know who started calling her the avocado, and it wasn't them. Same thing with Alice Cooper. A couple of other people are claiming they made up the name. I don't think so. Well, it kind of takes away from her little routine that, she was somehow manipulated to do bad things or something. I mean, just listen to that. I'm coming for you, Mensa. Really? Not a good plan, dipshit. Yeah, that's something to be on the news for. She evidently felt she wasn't being treated fairly at her local marijuana dispensary. Well, it doesn't look like justice is going to hop on you guys. And I highly doubt the avocado would ever dare. Or Alice Cooper. Or Natasha. Although Natasha has visited our channel before. Avocado's the one truth seeker who said that she was a certified and licensed advocate. And we pointed out there's no such thing, so she changed it. Oh, that could be it, Susie. Well, maybe this will get a shiner up on the panel. Let's ask the question, which video shows Christopher Watt's wife acting like a really good mother? Which one? Serious question, because I can't find one. Yeah, she went after NK big time. Well, in the same breath, wanting laws to protect victims. And remember when she sat there and said that she decided that Cindy Watts is not a victim. So I guess it's the law according to the avocado. As long as she decides that you're a victim, then you can be a victim, right? Exactly, Shrimp Cocktail. There isn't one. I've been looking. I've been searching. I cannot find one. So who was driving the gray truck that was at the house at 5:15 a.m.? The gray truck that was still there at 7 or quarter to 7 in the morning. The gray truck that was still there at noon. Yes, they were all disturbing, and the family encouraged it. They applauded her channel, knowing, just like Christopher Watt's brother-in-law, applauding the scumbag attackers who were posting threatening videos, doxing my employer, telling thousands of people to harass my employer. And there he was, the pinned comment, laughing, applauding, saying, get rid of the old hags or the old bags or something like that. Yeah, okay. Stating the obvious, I was sickened by those videos. When I first looked at the videos, I was actually looking for signs or warning flags or whatever that Christopher Watts was some sort of an abuser. And it didn't take long to see signs of abuse, that's for sure. That's right. And our assistant witch, they call Paula the assistant witch. She isn't here tonight. She's probably snoring already. I'm not saying she snores, but you know what I'm saying. I saw a really cool work truck in my travels that said Team Bob's. I thought, I don't know, I'm not that great with the phone. But I thought that would be a good picture, wouldn't it? Team Bob's. If I see it again, I'll try to get a picture. Oh my goodness, do you guys know what time it is? I was just looking at it thinking, yeah, she probably is sleeping. Hokey Pete, it's almost time for last call. Okay, guys, guess what? We're going to say goodnight. I'm singing this weekend, and I shouldn't be talking this late. I'll do a live chat tomorrow, but we're going to have to keep it short, and then I won't be able to do one Sunday until late Sunday. So, oh, did you guys hear? I didn't hear it, but somebody sent me an email and told me. Did you guys know that the Alice Cooper channel is now doing, you know how we do the thing, Goodnight, John Boy? Goodnight, Mary Ellen? They're doing it now. I'm telling you, these people are so lacking in content. I don't know, now that the scumbag attackers are doing it, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should just say this. I'll see y'all tomorrow. It'll be about an hour tomorrow, and it'll be later in the day, I think, or at least the afternoon. But don't let me talk for too long, seriously, because I've got to sing this weekend. Happy Angie, you were meant to hear that message. Shrimp Cocktail says, screw them. You're right, Shrimp Cocktail. I'll start us off. Good night, John Boy. Susie says, night, Grandma. Good night, Mary Ellen. Happy Angie says, night. Okay. There we have it. Good night, you guys. Everyone remember, be safe, be healthy. Don't forget your vitamin D and your multivitamin. MJ says, good night, Grandpa. And know that you are loved. See you tomorrow.